People of Reddit, what stupid rule at your work/school backfired beautifully? Zero tolerance ended shortly after a bully got thrown through a window because if I'm getting suspended for defending myself, I'm gonna make it worth my while. Back in 2014, our hour made a rule people couldn't go to other buildings. We had 3 buildings within a block of each other. All 3 had shipping areas and the warehouse employees had to go to each building to work. We were told to stay at one building. I mentioned we ship out of all 3, who is going to do the work. The genius said it will be taken care of. Next day $500,000 shipment didn't go out. The following day we have a meeting. Why didn't you ship this? 2 days ago we were told to stay in our building and someone would take care of it. The rule was quickly changed. Okay, but why didn't they want people to go to other buildings? They were trying to keep departments segregated. The lady was a control freak. She didn't want anyone talking to anyone else. Someone was making less than the other people, or she really didn't like people talking because it was wasted time. Maybe there were some union rumblings she didn't want to spread. The little-known 4th building on the block contained the remains of Jimmy Hoffa. Required every employee to use electronic time clocks to punch in out for work, including lunch. Punching in late or leaving early would cause your pay to be docked and getting a discipline letter. Multiple people wanted to sabotage the clocks, cut the cords, etc., but wiser heads prevailed. Everyone arrived several minutes early and left late, every single day, to avoid getting into trouble. Unfortunately, this created unimpeachable evidence of hours worked. The employer had to pay out thousands of dollars in overtime the first month. The clocks disappeared exactly 5 weeks after they were installed with no notification. One of the first jobs I had, as a trainee in a big corporation's office, my supervisor noticed I came in a few minutes late once and told me off for it. I did arrive at 9:03 or what, but a few more mins and my computer was booted up and I started working. Same day, close to 9:30, I saw several coworkers coming out of the kitchen with coffee still in their hands and chatting, getting to their desks and just then booting their computers. Boss didn't say a word. So I took up joining my coworkers for a 30-minute coffee break every single morning for the 2 or 3 months I continued to work there. I had one job where I would get there about 10 to 15 minutes early every single day because I took the bus and the buses ran near perfectly. I was usually working 10 minutes before my start time, so I didn't think it was too big a deal that I left 2 minutes early to catch my butt home. Wrong. My boss saw me leaving once at 4:28 to get my 4:33 bus and she chewed me out for leaving early. You could show up 30 minutes early and they'd ignore you, but if you tried to leave 1 minute early they'd write you up. Bullshit too, because we weren't hourly and my work was getting done every day and on time. And like your place, they didn't care if you showed up at 7:59 and hung out in the kitchen for 30 minutes or took a smoke break at 8:37 as long as you stayed until your end of the day. They want the appearance. Every shift, there's a quota we need to fulfill. And then, even if you do fulfill it, you have to keep working until your 8 hours are up. Cue everyone speeding for 4 hours, having a 3-hour lunch coffee break, then slowly moving their ass for an hour. No rule about us taking necessary breaks if we're still capable of reaching the quota. Now we're allowed to stop once we're done. Geez, a 3-hour lunch break is one of the most amazing things I've heard. I worked at Starbucks for like 5+ years before and during undergrad, and at one point our district manager thought it was a good idea to implement a just say yes policy, where we literally weren't allowed to tell the customer no. Lasted for about 3 months, and in that 3 months our unaccounted product and waste went up over 300% because when the POS didn't have a way to punch in a customer request we had to just do it anyways. We also got complaints from stores in surrounding districts because they had angry customers who were requesting things that were against local food service code, and told them that we did it for them at our store. I knew exactly how that policy was going to play out, and I just laughed every time management was freaking out about the problems it was causing. Give me all the money in the cash register and make me a free iced coffee. Yes. When COVID started, our boss demanded that our entire team sit in on group Zoom calls, even if the topics on the agenda didn't have anything to do with their roles. She felt it would build team unity. Productivity dropped, negative Google reviews came in, staff became more stressed. When she demanded answers on the next Zoom call, one of my coworkers bluntly said, "Well, I would reply to this woman's voicemail, but I'm stuck on this Zoom call." After a round of needless layoffs at my old company, one of the C-level people had us on a call asking why things weren't getting done. One of my coworkers said, I think the person who would have done that particular job no longer works here. And that's the right way to deal with the bullshit of companies trying to cut jobs. Don't pick up the slack, don't point out the gaps, just keep doing the job you always do until catastrophic failure hits the company. We cover for our shitty companies all the time, and that's why they treat us like shit. A few people at my workplace are starting to understand that they don't get paid for going the extra mile, for covering for bad leadership, etc. Eventually it will catch up to the manager making trouble, and when it does, oh boy, I'm gonna be there with popcorn. I work in manufacturing and we never slowed down in 2020, we just got busier. Obviously we were extremely short-handed and overworked, and management just kept pushing. So AI and a few other department heads decided to stop going above and beyond to cover for upper management. Around November, the plant completely fell apart in a way no one had ever seen. We kept doing our jobs and let the GM and plant manager eat the shit they deserved. We're still 13 weeks behind right now, but the department heads are being listened to now. You're amazing. Having leaders in the business who are willing to make a stand for the correct long-term business and people outcome is amazing and rare. More often I see management pushing their team in unreasonable ways to cover their own asses to upper management. Good on you, thanks on behalf of your team. The bottom floor of my secondary school was a square that had corridor all the way around. After some incident where a kid got knocked over, they implemented a one-way system. Unfortunately, they were very strict on enforcing it. If you accidentally walked past your class, you couldn't just turn around. They seemed very proud of their new rule. Until everyone started showing up late for class because they had to do extra laps of the bottom floor. That's ridiculous. My daughter is experiencing this with COVID one-way rules. They're only actually in school once or twice a week between snow and hybrid, so none of them know where the hell they're going, and if they miss, they have to go around again. A long while back, but my school banned the color pink because a bunch of students were wearing it one October and they thought it was a gang thing. It was for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The rule didn't go well for them. My principal banned pink silicone bracelets. They were being sold in town to raise money for breast cancer. 6 months later she had to have chemo to treat her breast cancer. It's not really funny, but it is kind of ironic. Edit, yes, she survived, I still see her around town on occasion, full remission, back to better health than before. My spouse's workplace realized they didn't have a policy about sending sexual images or jokes as part of their email acceptable use policy, so they added it. Except they made it a firing offense to send or receive sexual content. I think the intent was to stop people from subscribing to such content. They also said that your access would be immediately revoked until a determination was made. So someone got fired for something else and decided to send their whole management chain a graphically sexual image, then report it using the anonymous tip line. It got the report, concluded they did indeed receive sexual content, and did as required, suspended all the involved email accounts, including the SVPs. The policy has since been reworded. There's burning bridges and then there's drying up the lake just to fill it with gasoline. Damn. A place I used to work had a rule that executive level staff needed to be contactable when on leave, so they had a section on the leave form for the address of where you'd be staying and a contact number. Some knuckle shuffler in our decided it applied to all staff and the shenanigans began. People would put down the address and phone number of sex shops, sports grounds, medical clinics. I gave the latitude and longitude of the place I was going camping and the UHF frequency channel my radio would be tuned to. I once had a manager tell us we couldn't hang out with each other outside of work unless we invited everyone. I know, edit, her name was not Michael Scott. So that's what happened to the kid who never got invited to parties. Late 80s high school rule was no shorts. Classmate came for an exam with basketball shorts on that were below her knees. Teacher made her go home to change. She came back in a micro mini skirt and wrote her exam. My high school principal was known for sending girls home to change if their bra straps were showing. In my sophomore year he tried to send one of my classmates home, but she was like, "Nah, I've got a change of clothes. No need to send me home." So she went to the bathroom, took her bra off, and made a show of putting it in her locker. The principal was pissed, but couldn't do anything about it since she technically was following the dress code. It became a thing. Like, hundreds of high school girls removing their bra at school or just showing up braless as a big duck you to the principal. As a woman, that rule made me feel incredibly self-conscious about being a girl. Like bra straps, oh no. Good on the students for balking at it. Yay, when I was younger and approaching the need to wear a bra, I was so worried about people seeing the straps because of rules like this. Completely unnecessary though, it's a fkin strap, get over it.